truly incredible story just came out on the CBC, our woke propaganda outlet that's subsidized to the tune of $1.5 billion a year by the Canadian taxpayer. So the CBC has something called GEM, which is essentially their equivalent of Netflix, a paid subscription service. My God, I don't know what Canadian would pay to get more CBC. But so they have this subscription service named GEM, and it was time for them to release the annual numbers. The numbers are so bad, the CBC refused to release them. Now they are being sued, and they are paying for lawyers with our taxpayer dollars to fight the lawsuit so that they don't have to release how horrific the numbers are for their streaming service, GEM. What an absolute joke. The Canadian taxpayer provides this outlet, CBC, with $1.5 billion a year to spout pure propaganda. A big part of the reason Canada's in the situation it is right now, after 10 years of disastrous Justin Trudeau policies, followed by Mark Carney as Prime Minister, the man can barely spit a sentence out. Embarrassing Canada on a world stage on a daily basis is because of the CBC. If you are unfortunate enough to ever happen upon the CBC's website or their newscast, my God, the woke slant that is given to 95% of stories is truly shocking. Share a couple hilarious tidbits about the CBC. They have created something for those of you who follow conservative content online, because in Canada's mainstream media, it's near impossible to get any conservative right-leaning content that doesn't fall in line with the government, so you have to go to social media in order to get any. The CBC has realized that their numbers on YouTube, on the social media platforms, are terrible because their content is terrible. Canadians do not care unless they're forced to watch it. So they have launched something they are calling a visual investigations unit. I kid you not, the CBC, receiving $1.5 billion a year, has launched a visual investigations unit. And this unit is tasked with going out, finding right-wing content creators and reporting them. I have several friends in the space whose accounts, relatively large, 15,000, 20,000 followers. I was banned at 20,000. What they do is they find creative, conservative Canadian content creators, and they report them like a tattletale to these subscription services, to TikTok, to the social media giants, in the hopes that they will be banned because they realize they cannot compete with them. Some huge accounts like Real Talk Politics, for one example, have literally been banned for periods of time off of social media platforms due to the fact that CBC's so-called Visual Investigations Unit has reported that they are breaching the community guidelines, the terms of service. We are paying $1.5 billion for a nagging. It's embarrassing for a nag to go out and tattle on people through their visual investigations unit. CBC, you fucking morons. Make better goddamn comment, and don't turn your comments off on every video you make. Maybe you can get a discussion. Maybe you should actually learn how social media works if you want to get better numbers, or actually report the truth. Canadians realize the fact that Mark Carney's working on behalf of Brookfield Asset Management in China rather than the Canadian people. The Canadian people aren't stupid. Stop spouting your woke propaganda. It's becoming less and less possible, and at some point, reality is going to hit you in the head. So I kid you not, they've created a visual investigations unit. And also, recent news out of CBC, Travis Donraj, who had worked there for a long period of time, one of the very few staff members they had who was willing to speak with conservatives as well as liberals, had to leave because of the reports that he was not being allowed to do his job because people were upset with him for sharing a variety of opinions. So much for free speech in Canada. My God, all these liberals trample all over the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. But in the investigation on Donraj, they found that many CBC offices, I kid you not, have something that they call crying rooms. They have crying rooms at the CBC where staff members will reportedly very frequently go to bawl their eyes out. This does not sound like a workplace. This sounds like a daycare. And again, $1.5 billion we're paying them for their visual investigations units to go tattle on Canadian conservative content creators who tell the truth for crying rooms, and they refuse to release numbers on Jeff. It's absolutely insane. They have done no reporting on the fact that Mark Carney lied to the Canadian people and has allowed another 800,000 immigrants into the country Q1 2025. And you know why that is? That's because Brookfield Asset Management makes a hell of a lot of money. They own $37 billion worth of real estate in Canada. That's why he's doing this. He knows that 75% of the Canadian people say we cannot withstand more immigration, either culturally or economically, and it's backed up by every single data point. Our hospitals being totally overrun. Our housing starts not matching what we need for the numbers in this country. Our middle class disappearing. Canada becoming a third world country more and more quickly. Will you see any reporting on the conflicts of interest between Carney and Brookfield Asset Management on the CBC? Absolutely not. Will you see anything reported about the fact that China just implemented 75% tariffs on Canada, on Canadian canola oil, which is further decimating our prairie provinces? They've already been decimated by Trudeau's insane green policies, further decimating them. What does Carney do in retaliation? He gives them $1 billion contract, I kid you not, $1 billion contract to build 3 ferries for Vancouver. Now you may say, why the hell is he doing that? Why the hell would you give a country that's just further decimating our prairie provinces $1 billion contract? And the answer is, they spent $250 million 2 years ago on Brookfield Asset Management. You might as well rename Canada at this point. Brookfield Asset Management is a subsidiary of China. The CBC refuses to do any reporting on the conflicts of interest. They refuse to do any reporting on the fact that Carney ran on, oh, I'll get a trade deal with the States. I'm the master negotiator. I have all this international experience. I'll get it done. What's he done? Canada's 35% tariffs, some of the highest in the world. And he's in Germany the other day, and he doesn't even answer questions. They ask him questions specifically about the products that exist out of Kuzma that are seeing these massive tariffs that are killing middle-class businesses in Canada. And his answer is, twiddle his thumbs. The guy doesn't answer anything. The guy is totally in over his skis. And the only reason he's there is because of the CBC. Wake up, Canada. The fact that these guys get $1.5 billion a year is a total joke. They deserve approximately $0. Compete in the free market and see if you can do it. CBC, I bet you anything they'd be gone within 2 years. It is a propaganda outlet for misinforming Canadians. It is absolutely not a news outlet. We need to get in the streets. We need to fight back, because what's happening in this country, whether it be immigration, free speech, or charter rights and freedoms being trampled on, we cannot withstand for much longer. I'm hosting a rally Saturday, September 13th, Parliament Hill, starting at noon. If you're interested in attending, I want to get tens of thousands. We're matching the same day as the UK's having their rally with Tommy Robinson. We need to take this country back. Patriotic Canadians, I know there's a hell of a lot more of us than there are of them. Saturday, September 13th, noon, Parliament Hill. Shoot me a message if you're interested in attending. Like I said, I want to get tens of thousands patriotic Canadians out there. If you're following me on TikTok, please make sure you're following on YouTube, because I'm over 10K followers on TikTok, and the Canadian government does not like dissidents. YouTube.com/@FightForCanada25, links in my bio. And yeah, please like, share, subscribe, get the message out as far as wide as you can. We're going to take this country back and not let these propagandistic clowns at the CBC win.